And I'm the Executive Director of Education, Cannabis Education, Inc., and we are a nonprofit organization in Canada that's dedicated to providing the highest standard of responsible cannabis education. And I'm very grateful to be welcomed into this space today, and I come before you with humility, gratitude, and respect to speak about a plant that's not only changed my life, but I would definitely say has saved it. Today, I'm not here to try to convince anybody or change anybody's mind, if anything. I'm just here to remind about a relationship and a plant ally that we have in cannabis. So I've known cannabis my whole life, but I certainly lacked respect for it for a long time, viewing it as an escape and as a plaything. And I got reminded of its value in November of 2019 when I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. The cancer had spread to my lymph nodes, to the bones of my thigh, pelvis, hip, ribs, chest, and spine. And I was told I was incurable, inoperable, and terminal, and I was offered 6 months to a year to live. I refused to accept that because my mom was carried to the spirit world just 7 days after being given the same prognosis. And I was determined not to suffer the same fate as her. So, in the fear and dismay of the diagnosis, I sent prayers up to Creator and I spoke to my ancestors in the spirit world and I asked to be shown a way forward. And what I was gifted with was the rekindling of a relationship with a plant that I had known my whole life, a very complicated and nuanced plant that can teach us so much. And if you may change the slide, please. One of the first things that cannabis taught me was that it is a plant, it's not a drug. And I often say that people don't make drugs, or plants don't make drugs, people do. And when the cannabis plant is encountered in its natural form, it's one of the safest plant allies on land. It has roots in the family, the Cannabisaea family, and it has relatives in hops and hackberries. Not foreign or new, cannabis is grown on Turtle Island for over 12,000 years. Harm often doesn't come from the plant itself. It arises when humans interfere, when we distort, when we co-modify or engage without proper education, discernment, and respect. Like all good medicines, cannabis deserves that respect. And the plant really has never failed us. Truly, it is us that have failed in our relationship with her. Next slide, please. When relationship is broken, fear moves in, and when fear moves in, language changes, and when language changes, that's when medicine becomes drug. And this is how cannabis was taken from the circle, from the land, and placed under control. But removing relationship with the plant doesn't remove its medicine. We do not burn down an entire forest because one plant needs care. Cannabis is a medicine that carries over 500 medicinal molecules, but it's mainly one of them that's taking the heat, and that is because when you heat it, it could potentially make you feel high, and that is THC. And even this molecule, the most feared, the most misunderstood, and the most complicated, does have medicinal benefit. It is a known pain reliever, sedative, appetite stimulant, antidepressant, immune modulator, and so much more. And the medicine from cannabis comes from more than just one molecule. Next slide, please. In our languages, cannabis can be called mino mashkiki. It is good medicine because it works relationally with the body, mind, and spirit, the land, the water, and the air, not as separate parts, but as one living system. And this plant just so happens to support the system within us that remembers how balance feels. I hope that you have all heard of your endocannabinoid system. Long before it had a name, our bodies already knew it because every being, 2- and 4-legged, carries an endocannabinoid system. And this system is how the body listens to the outside world, how it responds and returns to harmony after any external stress or injury. When external stresses take over, the endocannabinoid system can become deficient. And when that happens, cannabis can supplement or nourish the system. And it constantly reminds the body how to heal itself. Now, I know cannabis is not universally recognized as a traditional medicine by Indigenous peoples, but respect for Indigenous sovereignty often requires that we acknowledge diverse teaching and perspectives as well. Next slide, please. Cannabis is not new to Turtle Island. Our story with this plant didn't begin yesterday, and its roots are as deep as our roots in this land. There is oral and written history across Turtle Island that tells us that we've engaged with cannabis long before colonial settlers and long before Prohibition. There is some archaeology that supports this truth. Even just 2 hours from here, in a 500-plus-year-old pipe, they found cannabis and tobacco resin in Morston, Ontario. They've also found hemp fiber pouches that date back centuries in the Ohio Valley. And across lands and across time, people have prepared teas and poultices from plants to relieve pain, calm inflammation, for protection, vision, and to walk in a good way. And this is woven into the history that our ancestors have carried. But lack of Indigenous consultation in the past has really prioritized a colonial understanding about cannabis as a plant and as a medicine. Cannabis is not here to overpower, to dominate. Oh, sorry, next slide, please. Cannabis is not here to overpower or to dominate, because it works in relationship, creating a healing circle that builds resilience as we grow together. And cannabis has the ability to heal the land by restoring depleted soil, drawing out toxins, inviting biodiversity back to places where it was stripped away, and supports processes of rebuilding, regeneration, and restoration. And when the land heals, the people heal, the body heals, the spirit heals. And this healing doesn't stop with individuals, it extends outwards to families, communities, water, soil, and ultimately for generations to come. Next slide, please. Within our families and communities, we often speak about intergenerational trauma. I just heard it this evening. And if trauma can be passed down, then it's equally important to speak about intergenerational healing. And people often ask me, does cannabis cloud the mind? And my answer to that is no more than ceremony, tradition, grief, or love alters our heart. Because each of these experiences changes us, not by disconnecting us, but by deepening our awareness and our relationship to ourselves. And when used appropriately, cannabis can support the body's natural processes by helping us deal with trauma by regulating stress, process information, balance hormones and brain chemistry, and protect cells from long-term damage. It's also known to support the body's ability to protect, eat, relax, forget, and sleep, not through numbness or disassociation, but through restoration. Next slide, please. Cannabis is often called a gateway drug, and I do not believe it is a gateway drug. I believe it is an exit from substances that would numb rather than heal, an exit from pain that's never been managed, and from cycles that have been handed down and not chosen. And in British Columbia, there is a cannabis substitution project that's been going on for years, and over 80% of their participants have successfully weaned themselves off opioids with the help of cannabis. No methadone, no further dependence. And that matters because our people have been overprescribed and undersupported. Next slide, please. Now, I have heard some genuine concern over the smell of cannabis, and I'm here to assure you that the smell from the raw, natural cannabis plant is here to inform you, not to expose you to intoxication. All plants in nature release terpenes, sage, sweetgrass, cedar, tobacco, and the aromas that they produce are messages. Terpenes are how plants speak to the world around them. They're how they protect themselves and reproduce and restore balance in the body. And when we burn sage, sweetgrass, cedar, tobacco, we're not just performing ceremony, but we're speaking directly with the plant. And these plants that scents can move through the body, but they do so gently to calm stress response, support immune health, and build resilience, like aromatherapy. Now, not the same thing as breathing in smoke from a THC-rich cannabis plant. This is a completely different thing, but terpenes and the natural cannabis plant are not harmful, and I would dare to say beneficial. Next slide, please. Cannabis, like I said, cannabis has existed for more than 12,000 years, and our endocannabinoid systems that we carry have been developing in our brainstem for over 50 million. And that would suggest that the cannabis plant was put here to nourish our systems. Cannabis has always been medicine, one of the most effective and potent, and our systems often benefit from it. And to deny cannabis is to deny ourselves, our nature, and the healing that it provides to the land and the body systems. Before legalization and licenses and government frameworks and storefronts, Indigenous peoples were doing this work. Organizations like Legacy 420 and Tyendinaga were offering compassionate care when there was no legal protections to do so. And they exercised their sovereign right to help their people because their people couldn't wait. And this was not industry, this was responsibility. And these places are the only avenue for many patients to acquire the medicine that they need to treat their conditions. The medicine that I require as a cancer patient is unavailable in a Health Canada regulated store, but I can get it here, and it's at a reasonable price. And if that goes away, other than making my own, what am I going to do to access the life-saving medicine that I need? Legalization didn't create this work, it simply recognized what already existed while often excluding those who carried it first. Next slide, please. When cannabis is used with intention and respect, it is generally safe and supportive for many beings. It does respond to how we approach it. The harm is rarely inherent in the plant itself. Harm most often arises when its natural form is altered, when it's used without education, guidance, relationship, and understanding. And the outcomes that cannabis can produce are shaped by dose, preparation, context, and the mindset of the person using it even. And when approached without care, of course, it can be misused, like all medicines can be. But when cannabis is approached in a way that our ancestors approached medicine, with humility, patience, and care, then it supports regulation rather than harm, working with the body's innate systems to restore balance. Next slide. Beyond the retail opportunities cannabis provides, there is huge untapped potential of creating a zero harm, zero waste system that offers community affordable solutions for food, fiber, fuel, medicine, biodegradables, energy storage and creation, affordable building materials. I could be here all day. Cannabis includes hemp, and hemp is the most sustainable, regenerative, clean, and productive plant on the land. The opportunities are endless, and it feels like a missed opportunity. Cannabis does have tremendous economic benefit, but it is so much more than a commodity. So just for the last slide in closing, many teachings remind us that healing and balance are found in remembering and listening to the body, to the land, and to the medicines that have always walked beside us. And we already accept plants into our daily lives. We accept coffee for clarity, tobacco for prayer, herbal teas for calm and relief. So we must ask ourselves gently, honestly, and together, how can we reject a plant that Creator designed our bodies to recognize, to interact with, and to heal alongside? My journey with cancer wasn't an accident, and cannabis is not an accident either. Creator doesn't make mistakes, and we were not created as empty vessels. We were created with the wisdom of this plant already inside of us in our endocannabinoid system. And if harm has been associated with cannabis, it did not begin with the plant itself. It emerged when relationship faded and understanding was interrupted. So the invitation is not removal, but reconnection, not exclusion, but inclusion. When cannabis remains in the circle of care, education can become a guide and not fear. Because sovereignty doesn't grow from control, it grows from remembering how to relate responsibly to what has always been here. Thank you very much. That's it. If